Hi there, my name's Connor. Today we're going to be using the Tiger Keg to make a Nitro Irish coffee. So some of the ingredients we're going to need for today are going to be Irish whiskey, cold brew coffee, simple syrup, and heavy whipping cream. Alright, to get started we are going to use our cold brew coffee, which I've poured in here. We have 36 ounces that we're going to use to fill the keg, and then we are also going to use 8 ounces of our Irish whiskey here. So we'll just go ahead and pour that in, make sure we get the right amount. Alright, so once we have that poured, we are going to go ahead and mix these all together. Once we have that mixed, we're going to go ahead and transfer that to our Tiger Keg. Once it's in the keg, we're going to put the keg in the fridge for about an hour. So the next step we have is to charge our keg, but first we want to make sure that it is in the off position. Definitely don't want coffee and whiskey everywhere. So we're going to take our charge, place it in there, and go ahead and screw that on. And you're going to want to give it a nice, good, solid screw on there for you. So now that we have our keg nice and charged, we want to go ahead and mix it up. We're going to, however you like to do it. If you want to get a little Roomba in there or whatever you want to do, a little swivel hip. So we're going to make sure this is nice and mixed up. We're going to place it in the fridge for about an hour and let it settle. So while we wait for our coffee and our whiskey to settle in the fridge, we are going to make our own homemade whipped cream. In order to do this, we're going to add about 1 ounce to 2 ounces of heavy whipping cream and about 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. It's a good idea to add, if you want, your own liqueur. Things like Grand Marnier, Bailey's, and Frangelico are some of my favorites to really add a nice spice to the cocktail. To get started making our traditional homemade whipped cream, we are going to add 1/2 ounce of our simple syrup to the shaker tin here. And we are also going to add our 1.5 ounces of cream, because I like to taste a little bit of the whiskey. Alright, so now that we have it in the tin here, we're going to go ahead and give it some really nice good shakes. And this is kind of up to preference here. So you want it to thicken, but as you shake it, it will get more and more thick. It just kind of depends on how much cream you want on top. And as you can see, it's starting to thicken up just a little bit. You are also able to do this in a blender if you don't have a shaker tin or anything like that at home. It's starting to really get nice and thick for us. This will sit really nicely on top of the cocktail, and if you want it to distribute, you can have it a little bit more thin. Now that our keg's been settling for about an hour, and we've made our homemade whipped cream, it's time to bring them all together and make our Nitro Irish coffee. So when I pour it, I like to let mine settle a little bit. That way I get those nice defined layers in my Irish coffee. And also while I'm letting it settle is make sure my cream is ready to go, and we're also going to add a little bit of garnish as well. I like to garnish with a little bit of cinnamon. So now we're ready for our homemade whipped cream to go on top. I like to add it from the back of the cocktail, that way it has an opportunity to kind of spread out evenly throughout. And like I said, I'm finishing with a little bit of cinnamon on top. Give a nice little look to it and a nice little extra flavor as well. All that's left to do is enjoy your beautiful Nitro Irish coffee. Cheers! That is good.